I knew throughout all this training, I knew Dave was going to be hard on me. I knew he was going to be harder on me than he was with the other people. And the reason that I knew that he was going to be that way was because he wanted me to be the best version of myself. You know, Dave was like me. If he taught somebody something, you know, he wanted them to be the best. He wanted them to get the highest score. You know, he wanted me to outdo myself, and outdo other people. And I understood that, and I appreciated that as well. Sometimes he was a bit of a twat with me. He got to be a little bit too much. That would be nipped in the bud quite quickly. There'd be a little fucking argument between us or something like that, and then Dave would go, "Oh, I'm sorry, Cole. I just want you to do the best, you know, for you." Like, you know, and I understood that. But sometimes he embarrassed me in front of people, and he would shout at me like a kid, and you know that didn't go down too well. But that was just Dave. Anyway, we spent the morning doing the skills. Dave went in and marked the exams from the other guys, and I think 3 of them failed it. Dave gave them a day, 2 days to go away, reread the book, come back again, and sit their exams again. Dave gave you 3 chances. If you didn't get it on the 3rd chance, he just says basically, look, you need to go away and do some more studying, and when you feel like you're ready to come back, you know. And sometimes those guys would go down to another dive shop, and they'd be passed. So Dave never said anything about it. He never went down and complained to that shop. They knew Dave's standards. Dave was very high. They knew Dave was ex-military, and he fucking didn't give nothing if you didn't deserve it, or you didn't do it and you didn't accomplish it. That was one thing that I liked about Dave. That if you weren't good enough to do it, he wasn't going to give it to you because you paid money. Okay, they didn't need the money. Dave and Sue were quite well off. Not to say that he didn't need the money, but his life didn't depend on it, you know. So Dave was very careful because he had a really good reputation in San Pedro, of how to teach people how to dive, and Dave incorporated a lot of militarism into it. You know what I mean? He was a staff sergeant. He had a lot of responsibility when he was in the military. He'd been in a lot of shitty places. You know, he knew how to delegate. He knew how to treat people fairly. But there was a thing with Dave where a point he wouldn't go beyond. You know, Dave would give you as many chances as you want. He would sit and spend as much time with you as you needed. You know, he wasn't one of these guys who would say, "Oh, fuck off, you failed it," and all that type of stuff. No, Dave would spend time with you. But it had to be up to you to want it badly enough to study for it and learn them skills and pass. Because being out on the ocean scuba diving is no fucking easy thing. You know, you can die very quickly. You dive, and later on, a year or 2 later, I was to witness that myself. Yeah, not a good feeling, or not a good thing to witness, to see somebody drown while scuba diving. And yeah, we'll get to that later. So the 3 guys who failed, Dave sent off. They were down, you know, they'd specifically had a few months to come down to Belize to learn to scuba dive and have some dives and just vacation. So Dave sent them off. Look, guys, fuck off. Go do your reading. Come back tomorrow. We'll go over the stuff. We'll go over it as many times as you want. Be here for 0800. We'll go through this stuff again. Cole will be here. You know, if you get stuck, Cole will help you. I'm fucking what? So, but because I'd already passed and already had an understanding of this stuff, you know, this was Dave introducing me how to be around people and interact with people and help people, and also to help teach. So Dave was basically teaching me for later on, when I became an assistant instructor and eventually a PADI instructor. He was pre-teaching me how to teach people. And I didn't realize that at the time, to be honest. I just thought the fucker was being lazy and passing shit on to me, because I'd never had anybody trust me enough to give me that responsibility. And so I didn't understand, you know, why he was just basically passing everything off onto me, which he wasn't really doing. He was allowing me to get the experience to do this stuff. But because I hadn't lived in that environment before, I just thought they was fucking piling everything on me. Now, they started paying me from the minute that I landed in Belize. So the very first day that I landed, even though I wasn't working, Dave would put me on his payroll. And I didn't realize this because I wasn't expecting anything. I had a few £100. I think I had about £1,000, which was 3,000 Belize, 2,000 US, 3,000 Belize. And I was quite comfortable for a while. David taking care of my hotel. All I had to do was basically buy my own food, which was really cheap. I started eating in a restaurant, and Sue had, you know, given me a little account, which she allowed to run for a week, and then I would pay my bill at the end of the week, which was really good of her at the end of the day too. Again, nobody had extended these type of courtesies to me before, and I was kind of dumbfounded and embarrassed as to why this was happening. So, and it wasn't something that I ever really got comfortable with, because I don't like owing people anything. So after lunch, Dave had, or Sue had, a little four-wheeler, what was a 250 Honda four-wheeler. I'd never been on one. So Dave had a little trailer that he had made. So we loaded all the scuba tanks. So there was, that day there was 8 of us all together. 2 more showed up in the afternoon. They'd already done everything a couple of days before. Dave came to get me. So they'd just been going over their skills and over the books and stuff. So there's 8 of us on the dock, and Dave, and so we were on this little dock, this little platform that led down these steps into the water. The water was about 3 feet deep. You took a few more steps and you were in 6 feet of water. So that was Dave's training area. Again, this is something he was teaching me. So Dave had me stand out to one side, and he had me demonstrate how to put my tank together, how to check everything, check my air, check my inflation, check my regulators, check the quality of the air, how to safely put the scuba gear on, which I would lift it up and I would hold it over the top of my head, so the tank would flip over, and I'd put my arms through, slide it on, and then do it up, toggle it up, and then inflate, deflate, and check everything. I didn't have a weight belt yet because we weren't in the water, and I didn't know how to weight myself. So this is what we're going to learn. Other people just picked up the jacket by the tank, and other people would slip into it and they would do it up and they would hold the tank. So there's different ways of getting your scuba gear on. The easiest for me was to flip it up over and put my arms through, which was what Dave showed me, and looked fucking Gucci as hell and really, really cool. And so we went over the skills for a good half an hour, just standing on the side, inflate, deflate, putting your gear together, taking your gear apart, deflating, washing, all this type of stuff, spitting inside your goggles or your mask, because your saliva breaks down grease and it stops your mask from fogging up. So we did all this, spit it in, cleaned it all the time. Or toothpaste was another one. A lot of people use toothpaste to clean it as well. I didn't have a beard or mustache back then, so it had to be important that your mask had a good seal, because if it had hairs, it could leak with water coming up through. And then you'd just be constantly clearing your mask underwater, and fucking, it was a real pain in the ass. And it's an odd feeling when you've got a mask on and you've got water flicking through your eyes. It can distract people, and it can give them anxiety, and can make them do mistakes underwater. So again, this is the things Dave was teaching me. I get something I'd never ever done. I'd never seen this in Jacques Cousteau. So once Dave was happy with us all doing the gear that way and getting the fins on, not flippers, fins, we would then basically sit on the side of the dock, okay, and then we would just roll forward into the water, inflate the BC a bit, roll forward in the water. You could stand up, so you weren't going to drown, but Dave would make us give the okay, either like this or like this, okay, and that gave him the sign that we were comfortable and that we're okay and nobody was in distress. So once everybody was in the water, Dave would make us kneel down, he'd make us inflate the BC a little bit so we could feel how rigid it was going and how slowly to do it, so we didn't blow up like an Oompa Loompa and scoot to the surface. Because again, if you did that underwater and you shot up like a rocket, you know, you were going to get the bends. So these are the skills that Dave spent the afternoon teaching us. So once we were comfortable doing that, he then introduced a weight belt. I started off with about £10 in the water. I ended up over a period of 6 months going down to about £4 weight. I've been so buoyant, finding my equilibrium in the water, and just using about £4. But I always took a couple of extra pound in my BC pockets, just to, in case when your tank got lighter, you tended to float a bit more.